Okay, so today we will see the another activities like append range. See, we have multiple activities like append range, then copy sheet, right? Delete range, get space selected range, get workbook sheet. Other activities which is used in a project, that activity we will see in this session. Okay, so first we know now what I need to do. I need to create a data table, right? So for that, which activity we need to use? We need to use read range activity. Okay, so here I am using read range activity, right? So read range activity, so here we have sheet 1, right? Now in this sheet 1 we have this excel file, or you can say spreadsheet, which is having 30 records with me. Okay, so once I create this data table variable, so here I'll just create one data table, right? So two ways we can create the data table: from control K var for variable, dt for data table. So from here we can create the data table, or else from here also we can create a data table, right? Now once I create the data table and I have assigned this data table to this read range activity, now all this 30 record is assigned to this var dt. Now var dt is collection of the 30 records. Okay, now I can use this data table anywhere. Like I can write the data table, I can create new, you can say, data table, and also I can assign that this value to this new data table as well, right? Now we have one activity called as the append range. See, if you see append range, what do you mean by this append range? Now append range is same like a right range activity, right? Append range, append range and right range activities are similar. Both are working for similar purpose: to write, or you can say to write the existing data. What is the purpose of that? To write the existing data table. Here we need a existing data table. If you see append range, right? Append range, and if you see data table, so we need a data table, right? Now what we'll do? We'll use the same data table var dt here, okay, and we'll pass this var dt table here, right? And here, for example, now in sheet 1, 30 records with us, right? We have 30 records with us, and now what we are doing with help of the append range, we are appending the same data table to the sheet 1, right? What we are doing, so for example, just consider here, for example, we have one data table with some records, existing record, like for example 3 records. Now if I want to deal with that existing sheet, right, if you want to update something on that existing sheet, so we can use append range. We are appending, we are adding some data, appending, or you can say adding, appending, okay, appending, or you can just call it as the adding as well. But with existing data table, with existing data table means we need a data table here, right? Data table require. Simple. Now here what I have done here, I have just create one append range activity. I have taken this append range activity, right, and I am using this append range activity inside this Excel application scope, because I am working with that Excel file, right? Now I'll just run this. Right, now if I'll open this Excel file, you will see now we have 60 record with us. 60. Why? Because this is my existing data, right? And that DT table, or that data table have the 30 record. That means existing 30 and new 30. So total 60 records, right? If I'll run this now, so it will give me the result as a 120, right? Because now in this data table current we have 60 records with me. This 60 and if you see 120 records. 120, right? 120 first is the, you can say, columns and column name. So 120 records, that means I am appending the existing data table with help of the append range. It's act as a similar like write range activity, but I am appending existing one, right? I'm appending the existing data table. I am appending the existing data. If you see appends the data from, just description of this append range, append the data from a data table to a spreadsheet. If the sheet does not exist, a new one is created with the sheet name value. Change are immediately saved. Now for example, here if I'll, now I'm using the sheet 1 to append the existing one, right? I can use another sheet as well. It's not compulsory. Here I'm using the sheet 1, so I can append that sheet 1 only. There are a lot of sheets with me, there are a lot of you can say Excel file with me, so whenever I need, whenever I require, I can append, I can use this append range activity. Now for example, if I'll use sheet 2, and now I have in this read range I have 120 records, and for example, if I don't have the sheet 2 with me, sheet 2 is there, right? So but we don't have any data with this sheet 2, right? And if I'll execute this, right, now if you see, we have this 120 records with me, right? But one difference is there, this is the appending, that's what this header, right? That header will not appear here, right? So that is the only difference between, you can say, append range and write range. In the write range activity, the add header option is available, but in the append range we don't have the header option, because I am not creating any new data table, right? What I am doing, I am just using the existing data table and I am just appending that existing data table to any other Excel sheet or any other, you can say, data table, right? So that is the append range, appending the existing data table or appending the some range, right? So this is a existing you can say append range. Now we have copy sheet, right? What do you mean by the copy sheet? Now again, copy sheet means, now for example, I have this sheet with me, like for example sheet 1, or you can say sheet 12. Now what I need to do, I need to copy this data, right? I need to copy this data and paste this data to any other sheet, right? I'm copying this data from here and I want to create some like sheet here, and I want to paste this, right? So that also we can do with help of the copy sheet, right? So here what we need to do, I don't require here this, so I'll just disable this. In the copy sheet we need to you can say, this is my input, and what is the sheet 1. For example, I want to copy the data from the sheet 1, right? From the sheet 1, or you can say I'll just take sheet 3 because it's just copied, so I'll just use sheet 3, and I need to create one more sheet and I need to paste this data inside the latest, or you can say new sheet, right? So what here, if you use destination file path, so what path I need to provide here, so I'll use the same. It's again, it's depend which Excel file which we need to use, it's an existing one or it's a newer one, it's up to us. So that's was destination file path, so it's a string value. If you see, this is a string value, so inside this double quotes I'll just pass this string value, and here if you see destination sheet name, so here I am creating, again this is also string value, so string value we need to pass that string value inside the double quotes. So I'll use sheet, you can say 7, I guess this 7th is not there, so I'll use sheet 7, and I simply saved this, okay? And if I'll execute this, right, and if I'll see sheet 3, so if you see sheet 3, right, so same from I'm taking this value from, you can say, sheet 3 and sheet 7, sheet 3 and you can say sheet 7. Same data I can paste, right? Usually this all small activities is used when you have you can say Excel automation, right? In real time projects also these activities are very helpful. Okay, now after that, now for example I have this one, right? I have this sheet 1 with me, and I need to delete some data from the existing one. What I need to do, I need to delete some data from the existing one, right? If you say delete range, right, read range, range means we are reading some specific range, reading a specific range for the Excel file, right? So we'll see copy sheet is, that is fine, right? We have seen two activities as of now. One is append range, second is the copy sheet, the third activity delete range. Now again I'll just disable this. What I am doing here, disable means if you see comment out, these two lines, or you can say these two lines, comment out means if I don't want to execute this activity, usually what we do, we delete that activity. But once I delete that, that activity will deleted from this workflow. But when we disable it, so in future if I need this activity, right, so that time I'll just simply right click it, and if you see disable activity, control D, right? Once I delete or once I disable this comment out and this two line symbol will occur for this activity. That means this activity is available for me, but this activity will not execute. This will, the whichever code which I have comment out, or what whichever activity which I have disabled it, that code will not debug, that code will not execute. Okay, now so that's what I have used, comment out, right? But why comment out is required, or why in future if I need this activity, so easily I can just enable it, right? Right click, and like similar like disable, we have this enable activity as well, so I can easily enable that activity for my future reference. Okay, now delete range. Now if I want to delete some range, right? For example, just consider A7 to, this is my A7 cell to E14, right? So I'll simply pass A7 colon to E14, right? E14. And if I'll execute this, that specific range will get deleted. See, that specific range, it's going to be deleted. Now here if you see, now this range will get deleted, but once this will get deleted, what I need to do, I need to remove the whole this space as well. Okay, usually when we delete something, we cannot keep this space as it is, right? So what I need to do, I need to remove this empty space as well. So for that, you will see here we have the options, or we can say we have the properties as well. You can say shift cell, if you see shift option, shift up. Once I delete this, right, now once I delete this, now what I'll do, I'll just change this specific range. For example, now I'll take A22 to E26, right? A22, right? A22 to, for example, E28, E28, right? This will get deleted, right? A22 to E something like 28. After deleting, now my below cell will take this space, empty space, or it will move upward, right? So for that, if you see shift option, once my cell will get deleted, this shifts option shift up, the below cell will shifted up. Okay, let's see. Now if I'll delete this, now if you see that cell gets deleted, and the below cell, they will just shifted above, right? In this case we have not chosen that option, that's what they just delete that specific data, but that sheet or that specific empty cells was remains there, right? So with help of this shift option we can uh, we can remove this empty space as well. So we have different options: shift cell, shift left, entire row, entire column as well. So we can use this option as per our requirement. Okay, now again I'll just comment this delete range as well. Now again, if you we have this read cell as well. Okay, now until now whichever in the read range activity we are taking a specific range. Now if I want to read a specific data from a specific cell. If I want to read a specific data from a specific cell, for example C6, right? So sheet 1 and you can say C6, okay. And as we know, each activity has two things, or you can say three things. One is input value. Here input value is like sheet name, and you can say C6, cell is equal to C6. The middle option, if you see, there are like private, or you can say preserve, format, and other options also available. And the third thing is like output, right? So here if I want to store that output, I'll just control K, var out, variable out. I have just create one variable var out, right? Var out. So var out is form of the string. That means whichever input I have just passed, right? So that input will store as a output value. Now for example C6, now this value we can store inside this variable var out, and then this variable I can use anywhere throughout my program, or you can say throughout my project as well, right? So to hold that variable value, here I am using message box, okay, and here inside this message box I am passing that var out variable. Okay, and if I'll execute this, see 98 North Road. Obviously just try to this is the happy flow. We can call as the happy flow. Okay, happy flow is fine whenever whichever code we are writing here, and output also getting on respect of the you can say code. But if we have something like this, we don't have, for example I'll put some random value here, and if I'll run this, so obviously we will get the error, right? So we need to practice it, like whenever we got the error we need to read that error and try to resolve that error as well. So whichever, now we don't have anything, and we don't get any, you can say, a result as well. Why? Because here we don't have like C6. Why this happened? Because this is technically right. Because we are passing the value as a string inside a double quotes. That means this is a technically it's right. That means while executing my program, executor not having any technical glitch or any error. That means this is the you can say technically this program is fine. But whichever input we have passed, that is not correct, right? That's what we are not getting any output, right? That's what you are not getting any output, right? So this way also we have to just concentrate, where sometimes what's happen, if we run the program and as per our expectation, if you are not getting any expected output, and also we are not getting any error as well, right? So in this case what happened, whichever input you are passing, that technically that input was correct, right? But the data which we need to pass, that was not correct technically. That means now I need to pass the string value. So I have passed the string value just like this. This is my string value, right? And this double quotes, I am insiding that, I am just passing this value inside double quotes. Sorry. That means it's technically right. Compilation error will not give, I am not getting the compilation error, right? There are two things when we write or when we execute the program. There are two things. When we run the program, there are like compile the program, compile and run. There are two different activities at background. It will happen. First, compile the program. Compile means compiler are checking whichever code is written that are perfectly fine or not. Has they has any glitch, or has they have any, you can say, error, right? So now in this case this is compiled, right? This program is compiled successfully, or that's why my execution was, you can say, execution was succeeded. Okay, because we don't have any you can say as such, we don't have any technical error, right? Now, and the second thing, once it compiles successfully, then and then only my program will run, right? That's what my program will also run. But because of this incorrect or wrong input data, I'm not getting my result, right? So that is fine. But here if I'm not passing anything, okay. See, now again this is, again if I'll try to run this program, again these two steps, they are following these two steps, right? And if I'll just execute this program, at the time of the compiling, my compiler give us the error like value for a required activity argument cell was not supplied. So it's clear, a simple English. So they are saying whichever value you are passing, that value was empty. Its cell value was empty. Just you need to pass that cell value, right? So whenever you practice it, okay, so just practice in both way. First, happy flow, whichever data you are passing, just do that practice. And the second thing, just do some you can say R&D on that side also. Just don't pass anything on that, right? Don't pass some wrong you can say value on that, and just try to debug it, or just try to execute it as well. So both way also, both way, whenever you practice it, so you can practice this thing in a both ways, like happy flow and you can say error flow, right? So then and then only you can once you know what kind of error you will get, and once you know how you can resolve that, then you will you can say become a good developer, slowly fine. So that is fine. Read cell is, you can say, used to read a specific cell. Now again sorry, just like for example read cell, you can read a specific formula, you can read a specific column. Now if you want to read a specific column, right, if you want to read a specific column, then we can also read a specific column as well, okay. Now color sorry. Now for example, what I need to do, I need to just put some specific color to my data, right? Now for example, I have this Excel file, and what was my use case? Use case means what was my requirement, okay. Now this is my Excel file, and here on a specific condition, I need to color out some data here. What I need to do, from this existing data, I need to color out some filter data, or you can say some data, right? So for that also we have one activity called as the set range color. What activity we have? Set range color. So whichever range we need to color it out, so we need to provide that specific range. So from here we'll take B10 to D15, okay. So B10 to whichever value, we can take anything, right? B10 to, for example, D15, okay. And sheet is like sheet 6, so whichever sheet which we need to do, so I'll just pass sheet 6, right? And here if you see, we need to pass one specific class here, class, or you can say one specific technical sentence. So which sentence I need to pass? If you see system dot drawing dot color, right? System dot drawing dot color, system dot drawing, right, dot color dot. Now if I want to give a specific color like red, pink, yellow, whatever, we can provide that as well. So they already mentioned it like system dot drawing dot color. So I'll just simply pass that class system dot drawing dot color dot. Now if you see, there are a lot of colors like antique, white, aqua, azure, right, black, blue. Will select like blue, right, set range color, and I'll just select blue, right. So I don't require this message box here, okay, and here I'll just execute this. Okay, see, now I can now you will see this blue color is appeared here, right. So for the set color as well, we have like system dot drawing dot color. You can give the color as well, right. Now right cell, right cell means simple, whichever, if you want to put some value here, right, instead of this value I want to write some value, so you can pass that value directly from here as well. Same like read cell, right cell, read range, right range. Okay, so get color, set color, right, get you can say sheet. Now if you see get sheet, right, now this activity, why this activity is used. Now if you see, if I want to check how many sheets are available, what kind of in the Excel file, right, at in now for example, just consider if we have multiple sheet with me and I want to know at which position which sheet is available, right. So here I'll use get workbook sheet index, right. If I want to pass some index, for example this is my 0th index, 1 0 1 2 3 4 5 6, right. So if I'll pass index of 1, that means, right, 1, right, 1 means this one, this is the 0th index, this is my 1th position, right. I can store control K, again I can create one variable here